The hard 90s in Russia were an era when criminal gangs literally seized power in cities, neighborhoods, and on the streets. Despite the cessation of their activities, the names of these gangs are still heard today. Is Myoo Gang. It appeared after the merger of several capital youth groups, which were in conflict with the Lubers. The territory of the gang was the eastern district of Moscow. They were active in the center of Moscow, Balashika, and Lyabrtsy. The gang included both criminals and sportsmen, then it was supplemented by former employees of the authorities. Izmailovsky fought with Chechen groups, claimed large metallurgical plants, kept a network of private security and jewelry businesses. Money was laundered through casinos and withdrawn abroad. In the mid-90s, the gang suffered serious losses. Lu Zhikai, nicknamed Misha Kitayets, who held the group's treasury, and Fyodor Karashov, nicknamed the Greek, were killed. Some members of the gang, such as Sergei Korolev, aka Marakilo, were detained, while others emigrated. Orkhovskaya Gang. One of the most notorious and violent gangs in Russia originated in Orkovo-Borisovo. It was founded by Sergei Timofeev, nicknamed Sylvester. Among the members of the gang were also many athletes. Orkhovsky supervised the Kurgan and Medvedkovo gangs. At first they started with attacks on truckers, and at the peak of their power was engaged in the circulation of gold and diamonds, real estate and oil, controlled the activities of several dozen banks in central Russia. Orkhovsky conflicted with Caucasian gangs. After Timofeev's murder, the gang fought for the place of the leader, in which many notable members of the gang died, such as Alexander Kleshchenko, aka Uzbek Jr., and killer Alexander Solonik. The Orkov gang was led for a time by Sergei Budorin, nicknamed Ozha, who later fled to Spain. There he was arrested and extradited to Russia, where he received a life sentence. After the murder of investigator Yuri Karizia, the Interior Ministry seriously investigated the Orkhovskys and arrested several major authorities, including Dmitry Belkin and Oleg Pronin. Tof Gang. One of the most dangerous and influential gangs in St. Petersburg. It was founded by natives of the Tambov region Valery Ledovskik and Vladimir Kumarin. The backbone of the gang was first made up of fellow countrymen of Ledovskik and Kumarin. Later the gang was staffed by sportsmen of power types and former servicemen. At first, the Tambovites were engaged in racketeering of cooperators. Later they switched to the fuel and energy and gambling business, import of office equipment, export of raw materials, and organized a network of private security. After their main competitors, the Velikolud gang, started internal conflicts, they became the strongest group in the northern capital. For some orders they used Chechen natives. But in the early 2000s, the Tambov gang had big problems. In 2000, Barsakov's assistant Georgy Pozdnyakov and business partner Yen Gurevsky were killed. For nearly 20 years, some notable members of the gang died, others emigrated, and others received sentences. In 2019, Barsakov Kumarin was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Vav Gang. The gang was founded by Tolyatti natives Alexander Maslov and Vladimir Karapetyan, who worked at the Volga Hotel. The Volgovskys started their activities by reselling stolen parts from the VAZ automobile plant. Later, the gang actually controlled the dealers of the plant and the shipment of finished cars. In 1992, Maslov was killed. His associate Dmitry Ruzliev, nicknamed Dima Bolshoi, became the leader of the gang. But in 1998, he was also shot in his car. One after another, other authorities of the gang Vadim Startsev and Yevgeny Ishimov were killed. In 2000, Vladimir Karapetyan and Yevgeny Sokov were killed. Other members of the gang were arrested in 2007, and its last ringleader Viktor Pilin, who committed suicide in the cell of the pretrial detention center. In 2016, another active member of the Volgovs, Vladimir Voroby, also died in a prison hospital. Some gangs, e.g., the Solntsevsky gangs, still continue their activities in one form or another.